Gaza resident Mansour Shouman, he's been on the ground there and really has the latest on that situation continuing to develop there in Gaza. Good morning, Mansour. It's about 5:18 in the afternoon there for our audience watching. How are you doing? The last time we spoke, I know the situation was very serious. You had to continue rationing just so you could feed your family and children. Just tell me the situation right now.
It's getting much worse. Right now, all my family members have digestive tract disorders from the unclean water that they're drinking. They didn't have any protein for the last 5 days. They're relying on dry carbohydrates and dates. I mean, just half an hour ago, I was on an interview with the BBC and after Al Jazeera International, and during the live interviews, bombs came running down on the UN shelter right beside us, right here, and everything shook. So the the bombardment is ongoing. And honestly, when we learned about the 20 trucks that came in today, the people in Gaza were shocked. First of all, the contents of these trucks, if I can read them to you. Gloves, masks, coffin wraps. I mean, are we expecting more deaths? Are we expecting chemical warfare? And again, you have here 2.3 million who used to have 150 trucks come in every day full of food and other necessities. Now you only let 20 trucks in with a quantity only enough for 0.002% of the population. I mean, this is like, in our opinion, this is really bad.
I can understand. And you also mentioned before we hopped on that fuel remains another issue. Do you have electricity right now in Khan Yunis? Obviously, you have internet access. But how dire is the situation and need for fuel, not just to move around, but also electricity?
So yesterday I had an interview with the CBC. And the reporter asked me, what is the number one thing you want to see in this emergency convoy that comes into the Gaza Strip? I told her fuel. And I was surprised, again, not to see fuel on the list. Why is fuel important? The listeners need to understand that the Israeli authorities on the first day said, we're cutting off electricity. We're cutting off the water. We rely on Israel for electricity, right? And now how electricity is being generated is through solar panels and through electrical generators. Now, solar panels do not meet the capacity of big areas like hospitals, right? Right now, where I'm sitting beside Nasser Hospital, which is the second biggest hospital in the Strip. And fuel is running short. No fuel means no electricity, means no internet.
The situation getting incredibly serious there, Mansour. You know, it's hard to imagine all that you all are going through and your family. I hope you remain safe there. The reports that we have from the UN say about 200 trucks are being allowed through with about 3,000 tons of various aid that began. Have you seen any of these trucks? And do you have any way to tell how many are actually coming through?
The confirmed number that entered Gaza today is 20 trucks, full stop. No one here is aware of the 200 or 300 trucks or the 3,000 tons that we're talking about. We hope it's true. I mean, but this didn't happen.
And we take a live look right now out at one of the hospitals over in Khan Yunis. I don't know if you recognize this area, but we have been taking a look at a number of the shots from this hospital where we've seen rocket fire. You mentioned earlier that you heard explosions and that they continue to really just continue throughout all hours of the day and night. We've seen many of the injured being brought to this specific hospital here. Is this near where you're living, where you stay right now?
That's correct. This is Nasser Hospital, the second biggest hospital, home to over 15,000 refugees and over 600 patients.
And the situation there, we're also learning, getting incredibly serious. I read at least one report where a doctor there had to perform surgery using just vinegar as an anesthetic and using cell phone lights to treat patients. When you hear about the situation on the ground, how much more can you call to international authorities, including the Israelis as well as Hamas, to perhaps help this situation to prevent any more loss of life and injuries?
I am only a civilian. I do not represent any party. I'm not affiliated with anyone. As a Palestinian Canadian, a father, a husband, father of 5 kids. My message is that we don't care how or who resolves it. We thought that when the UN was created last century, it was done so that the strong doesn't eat the weak. But what we are seeing right now is that weak civilians, such as the report that you mentioned about the one who's being operated on with vinegar and cell phone lights, are the ones that are being tortured. I did a report today about several cases of families doing limb resurrection surgery. Right now, many people cannot walk. And unfortunately, without them leaving Gaza to an Egyptian hospital or another hospital outside that has the capability to do the repairs necessary, these children will not walk for life. So I'm not an expert on international law, but I'm seeing human rights violations, and I'm not seeing the UN doing anything to stop this.
What a dire situation there. We continue to send our thoughts and prayers, and we know there are many world leaders continuing to speak out against this and speak out to make sure that aid is provided to the Palestinians there in Gaza. But as we're hearing firsthand, at least with the first round of those trucks, Mansour Shouman there in Gaza saying just 20 trucks have been released from the Egypt border, according to reports on the ground, even though some 200 are expected to be released, at least overall in this initial round. Now, we did listen in to some comments from the UN Palestine Refugee Agency, and they, some officials there, a spokesperson, did call for not just initial rounds of trucks, but continued aid. Do you have any hope that the situation is going to change anytime soon? And if it doesn't, what happens?
Hope is always there. The people in Gaza are strong believers in God and are well-versed Muslims. We believe that whatever is written will happen to us. However, there is no belief in the current system, the world order that is running things right now. There is no belief in the UN. There is no belief in the US, unfortunately. And we do not know how things will be resolved.
As Israel says they are planning and just kind of on guard as they prepare to potentially invade Gaza, what is your thoughts right now? What is your feelings about this situation and for the safety of your family and your community ahead of this potential all-out invasion by the Israelis into Gaza?
That's a good question. I would like to answer it by asking you a similar question. What is safer in your opinion? To sit in your house and not know when the bomb will come on your head, or to see tanks coming in and being able to react and leave the area?
But where do you go, even if this does happen? Do you have the time to react? Do you have the time to escape? Do you have a place to go?
What I mean to say, Giacomo, is that what's happening right now, in our opinion, is worse than a land invasion. If the land invasion does happen, let it militant fight militant. You know, the civilians will clear the area. But right now, it's civilians who are being killed. It's civilian homes that are being bombed down. It's schools, it's mosques, it's churches. So that's my answer. That's my opinion, Matt.
I understand, and obviously people in this situation having to make perhaps the most extreme choices that anyone would ever have to make in their entire life. Mansour, we continue to pray for you and your family and the people suffering there in Gaza. And, you know, hearing what I'm hearing from you today sounds like the situation not getting better despite repeated calls for humanitarian aid. What about a ceasefire? Do you feel comfortable discussing, you know, that potential?
I strongly believe that a ceasefire would benefit the civilians here. At least it will allow innocent children to go out and play a little bit in the sun. At least it will allow those who want to go bring certain essentials back to their home to do so safe. At least it will allow those who want to travel to check on their burnt down houses or their relatives who were displaced or suffered losses to check on each other. We hope for a ceasefire soon.
And those calls have been echoed in protests across the world as we continue to follow this. Mansour Shouman, a resident of Gaza, speaking with us there after some of the first trucks being released from the Rafah border into Gaza are being sent, but he continues to say it simply is not enough. Mansour, anything we haven't asked you, anything you'd like to add?
Thank you for your time and the listeners of Fox News.
Yeah, thank you as well, Mansour. We sure do hope that you stay safe. Please keep in touch with me, as I'm sure I'll continue to reach out as hopefully as aid is brought in. Any updates you get, feel free to let us know. Thank you so much.